Hello and welcome to the Landis Look, where we take an inside look at the world of real estate. And today we're going to get an inside look at the commercial real estate market here in Atlanta. And I'm here with Sean Donahue, a good friend of mine with Urban Realty Partners. Sean, thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Justin.
So Sean's been with us before to give us market updates. It probably will be a different update this year than last year, and I'm super curious to see it. Sean and his firm, they work on a variety of different types of properties here in Atlanta. And so that'll be neat to see the perspective on some different parts. First of all, give us a little update on, what has happened in the last 6 months in the commercial real estate world? What happened at first when COVID started, and maybe walk us through some of the highs and lows since then.
Sure. So yeah, there was certainly a freak out everywhere when back in March, and everything kind of briefly stopped on the construction side, but only briefly. It was pretty quickly that at least in the city of Atlanta, probably most other places, the construction workers were deemed essential. And so it was a pretty momentary pause, and the kind of thought on the development side was, if you're under construction and you've got a while before you're delivering, then everything will be all right.
And for example, one of your projects, the GlenCastle over on Glenwood, if folks haven't driven by it, it looks beautiful. Y'all have made a ton of progress on that this year.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that was, so we were, 75% complete in March and have delivered the buildings and gotten our CO this summer. That's an office project, and leasing traffic was very slow for several months to non-existent, and it has picked back up here in the last couple of months, which is great, and also a little confusing because one could say that COVID is worse.
What has driven that? So it sounds like basically stopped at the beginning of COVID, but now you were telling me before we started, people are looking for space and engaging in leases. What do you think has changed?
People are still, and the business owners and our tenants are still, I think, if they're occupying space somewhere else now, trying to kick the can there if they've got a lease expiration coming up, as much as they can, and put off making a decision. But where their business is growing and they need more space, or are opening a new office, a new location, that's still happening. And so we are seeing that traffic now that was not out there for a couple months.
Awesome. What's happened in the multifamily space? Have people been able to pay their rent over this time? What are y'all seeing on the multifamily side?
Yeah. So for the first couple of months, even through May, and I think through June too, we were seeing collections data being, even with 2019, and
awesome, which is great. Yeah.
And a lot of that, I think, was the additional stimulus and unemployment payments helping to prop that up. I've not seen what's happened now that has peeled back a little bit. And I do tend to think that, at some point we have to see this huge unemployment rate, affect the market. I think that will probably be in the form of rent, no rent growth, or very limited rent growth, but which has been, we've seen a lot of rent growth over the last several years here in Atlanta. So, but people still need to live somewhere, and we've talked forever about there being a housing shortage here in Atlanta, and that's not changing.
What about new projects? Are people moving forward with new multifamily, new office, new retail and restaurant? What are you seeing on the forward-looking side?
On the multifamily side, yes. The debt markets have become a bit more conservative, but any well-located projects here in Atlanta, anything that's Beltline oriented or there's a Beltline story to it, no problem.
A Beltline story. Hey, there's a Beltline 8 miles away.
Yeah,
you can get there.
Everybody's close to the Beltline, but so multifamily, I think is, you can, we would like to, keep doing residential deals, and are, looking for sites. Office is a little iffier, and then kind of going down the ladder. I mean, retail, fortunately for us, we are not retail developers. I don't envy those who own a bunch of retail space. I think that's quite a bit trickier.
Have you started to see, so it sounds like multifamily, I mean, low collections moving forward. I'm assuming there has probably not been a big pricing or maybe no pricing change on that. On the office and retail and restaurant, is it too early to see any pricing difference? I mean, are we starting to see any impact on the pricing people are paying for land or paying, to acquire properties at this point, or is it too early for that?
Still a little early. We as a buyer and others like us are looking for it and want to see it, but we haven't really seen it yet.
Yeah.
But all of the larger investment firms and real estate private equity firms are predicting that it's coming, and maybe we're still a year out.
Yeah. What about on the office side? Are the leasing prices, the asking prices from February, essentially the same they are now? Have they gone up or down? I mean, what are you seeing on the office leasing side?
Yeah. Pretty flat.
Pretty flat.
Yep. And I have not seen, absorption, I would say is of, new leases getting done has been pretty low. But kind of like I was telling you before, I think everyone is still very optimistic that this is all playing out longer than we first thought that it would. But everyone's still optimistic that there's an end in sight later this year. And so that's helping to prop things up, I think, and keep asking rents, where they were.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you were saying, and I feel the same way, once, we've gotten to the point where people want to go back to work. I mean, people want to go back to the office. And so that optimism is what, is driving a little bit of, hey, this is going to be fine once we can, because even though we have worked virtually, and I mean, I've seen this for our company, we have worked successfully virtually, but we would like to be back in the office, and you said you're hearing that from other folks as well.
Yeah, that's right. And people want to be, I think everyone would agree, most industries, most businesses, that the work that is done sitting at your desk at a computer can be done virtually, but what's really missing is the team meetings and as much as I want to, believe that office space is not, what it used to be, and the need for office space is not what it used to be, people still need to be in person. And we say that, you say that, really I think any business would say that. There's a lot lost by being.
I agree. So to wrap it up, I mean, it sounds like you are still optimistic about the future of Atlanta commercial real estate.
For sure. If you even just zooming out to the sort of fundamentals of Atlanta and the Southeast, and even the whole Sun Belt is, lower cost of living. And so, and lower cost of doing business, and that will still help carry things. And if, and it's on the office and residential side, if you're delivering a product that is a little cheaper relative to other product being delivered, you'll do better. And so, adaptive reuse office project like we like to do is, can be done a little more cheaply, and asking rent is substantially cheaper than brand new construction. And so that's what I think is going to help protect us, and is going to be sort of a refuge for companies who are really reducing their footprint.
I love it, man. Awesome. Well, Sean, thanks for your time today. Thanks for the look at the market. I mean, I hope this is an encouragement for folks. I mean, I think we all know that, especially on the retail side, it's been a challenge, but to hear that multifamily and office, has done well, and that, the interest is back up in office space. I mean, I think that's super encouraging for Atlanta moving forward. And I love that for y'all personally as well. So thanks for your time today. If any of y'all have any questions about commercial real estate, we would be happy to help you guys get those answers. Send us a private message like so many of you do. And we would be happy to talk through your personal situation. So we will see you guys next week. And Sean, thanks again for being here.
Thanks, Justin.
All right. See you guys next week.